In a garage, Charlie repairs the plane his wife Sarah gifted him for his birthday. Sarah interrupts him to say she is leaving soon for a business conference in London. She invites him to come with her again, but Charlie declines because he has a lot of work. Some time later, Charlie arrives at CIA headquarters. On his way to the decryption and analysis department, he passes through all the security scanners he invented and finally reaches his office. Suddenly, he receives a message from Inquiline, a mysterious contact he has been communicating with for years. As usual, Inquiline offers valuable classified intelligence for sale, but this time warns that the documents could put the CIA at risk. Charlie tries to guess the sender's location and says Istanbul, but Inquiline dismisses it. He then analyzes the material, but even with his skills, he cannot crack the code. After lunch, Charlie returns to his office and gets a call from Sarah, who tells him she has arrived in London. However, Charlie already knows because he has been tracking her. Their conversation is brief because he is focused on the documents. Since he still cannot break the code, he takes his computer into a restricted area where a more advanced system allows him to continue. After some time, he finally unlocks the files and sees top-secret government records showing that a drone strike disguised as a self-deletion bombing was authorized and covered up. News clips report 150 casualties, including French Special Forces and Danish Marines. The operation was organized by Chief Moore, who is also Charlie's boss. That night at home, Charlie calls Sarah, but she does not answer, so he leaves a voicemail. The next day at work, he is surprised to find Moore waiting for him. Moore takes him to the office of O'Brien, the recently appointed director. She informs him that a terrorist attack has taken place at a hotel in London and Sarah was among the victims. Charlie refuses to believe it and tries to call Sarah, so Moore turns on the television to show the news. A reporter explains that 4 terrorists stormed the hotel, took hostages, and killed 2 people. Moore then plays the hotel security footage, which shows the chaos and confirms that Sarah was killed. When Charlie returns home, he finds reporters gathered outside while police try to hold them back. A friend helps him enter the house without being stopped. The next day, Charlie confronts Moore and Supervisor Caleb because he is suspicious of the events. He argues that the attackers could not have bypassed London's security cameras or driven through traffic unnoticed. Moore says the investigation is ongoing, but Caleb sends Charlie home. The following day, Charlie goes to the airport to receive Sarah's body and belongings. At home, he opens her suitcase and finds a gift she bought for him, which overwhelms him. Unable to stay home, Charlie returns to work and uses the restricted computer system to access the hotel's cameras and nearby street footage. He reconstructs a detailed timeline and presents it to his superiors. The 4 attackers stole a vehicle in the East End, entered the hotel through a service entrance, and removed all prints and DNA. They had a scheduled meeting with Impact Investments from Indonesia, but an argument began in the corridor. One of the firm's guards confronted them, and a terrorist shot him. Hotel security alerted police. Trying to escape, the attackers entered a conference room and took hostages. Sarah was captured while helping attendees escape. Charlie runs voice and facial analysis and identifies the attackers as Mishka from Moscow, a former South African Special Forces operative named Lawrence, the mercenary Horst, and a former intelligence officer named Gretchen. When he notices Moore and Caleb show no surprise, he realizes they already knew this information. They say the situation is being handled and send him to see a therapist. The next day, Charlie hides a chip inside his ID badge and passes through security without triggering the scanners. In his office, he prints the classified files and uses a skimmer to create a digital copy. That night, he sits in a bar, staring at a jukebox. The following morning, he confronts his superiors again with the printed evidence. He lists several covert operations led by Moore, including a Syrian hospital bombing and a strike on an Allied base in Yemen that killed thousands of civilians. He threatens to expose everything and explains that he has activated a dead man switch that will release the files to major news outlets if he fails to enter a code every 5 hours. In exchange for silence, Charlie demands full CIA training, false identities, money, a weapon, and intelligence on Sarah's killers. After the meeting, Charlie returns to his car and vomits from the strain. Inside the office, Moore argues that the dead man switch is probably a bluff, but Caleb insists they cannot risk it. They decide to search for the trigger mechanism and plan to arrange a fatal accident during Charlie's training if necessary. Later, Caleb and his team begin investigating how Charlie managed to copy the classified files. They discuss the possibility of a skimmer. It would not work on their secured computers, but could work on a printer. Charlie could have sent the files to the printer and used a magnetic strip to copy the data. After reviewing security footage, they confirm that Charlie bought a magnetic strip at a store, but they still cannot determine how he brought it in and out of the building. The team also searches Charlie's house and eventually finds that he visited a specific bar twice. They go to the bar, search it, and find an ABBA CD hidden under the jukebox. Caleb selects that CD in the jukebox catalog, and only static noise plays, so they remove the CD Charlie left behind. Meanwhile, Charlie arrives at a CIA training facility where Colonel Henderson greets him. They begin at the shooting range, but Charlie struggles with accuracy and must get very close to hit the target. When it comes to making explosives, however, he works extremely fast and impresses Henderson. Next, Charlie studies his new identity, while Henderson applies physical pressure to test if he can recall the information under stress. Finally, his new passports are prepared. That night, Henderson visits Charlie's room and tells him he is not a killer, but Charlie insists he wants justice. Henderson hands him a gun and tells him to aim at his chest. Charlie's hands shake, and he eventually lowers the weapon. Back at headquarters, agents spend hours decrypting the data from the CD and discover that Charlie was bluffing about the dead man switch. They report this immediately, unaware that Charlie is listening. The chip hidden in his badge is actually a bug planted on the files he handed over. Moore calls Henderson and orders him to arrest Charlie, but Charlie has already escaped. After the call ends, Moore notices the bug on the files and speaks to Charlie through it, calling his actions treason. Charlie removes his earpiece before boarding a plane. After arriving in London, Charlie passes through customs and travels on to Paris. His false passport is flagged in CIA systems, so Moore sends Henderson after him. In Paris, Charlie rents a hotel room near a restaurant Gretchen frequently visits. When she appears, he tracks her phone signal. He spends the day watching her building and waits until she leaves. When another tenant exits, Charlie slips inside and uses an online guide to pick the lock of Gretchen's apartment. He searches the place, photographs her schedule, and finds a gun in a drawer, which he keeps. His tracker warns him that Gretchen is returning, so he hides on the stairs to wait. When she arrives, he cannot bring himself to shoot. He retreats to the hotel and imagines Sarah waiting for him. After regaining focus, he studies the photos and notices Gretchen has been visiting a hospital frequently. He hacks into her medical records and learns she has severe allergies. The next morning, Charlie buys large amounts of flowers. He waits at a cafe until Gretchen appears and follows her to the hospital. During her tests, the doctor leaves the room to report a malfunctioning screen. Charlie enters disguised as a doctor and locks Gretchen inside the machine, then fills the chamber with pollen. The doctor and a nurse hear the disturbance but cannot open the door. Gretchen weakens from the allergic reaction, while Charlie demands to know Horst's location, since Horst killed Sarah. Gretchen cannot respond, so Charlie opens the chamber. She attacks him and they struggle violently around the room. Charlie draws his gun, but Gretchen overpowers him and escapes. Charlie chases her outside, but before he can fire, she is struck by a car. He approaches her body, takes her phone, and flees. He discards the lab coat, returns to his hotel, washes the blood off, and packs his belongings. That night, he goes to the bus station and buys a ticket to Marseille. News of Gretchen's death reaches the CIA. O'Brien questions Moore, who states that Gretchen appears to have been killed by one of their own. That night, Charlie drinks heavily at a bar. For a moment, he thinks he sees Sarah dancing, but it is only a woman who resembles her. He then notices Henderson entering the bar and quickly forces his way out, running through the streets until he finds another bar to hide in. Henderson follows him there as well, so Charlie rushes into the bathroom and locks the door. Unfortunately, there are no windows in the bathroom, so Charlie has no way out except the door. He steps back into the bar and sits with Henderson, who explains that he tracked him through Gretchen's phone. After a brief conversation, Charlie quietly shows a countdown timer on his own phone, then suddenly bolts for the exit. Seconds later, the bomb he planted in the bathroom detonates. The explosion throws the bar into chaos, and Henderson loses sight of him. Charlie's phone tracker goes dead as well. The next morning, Charlie contacts Inquiline and asks for help, then boards a cargo plane bound for Turkey. In Istanbul, he enters a restaurant and sends a message. When a nearby phone rings, he approaches the man holding it, but a woman blocks his path and tells him to check his own phone. He leaves the restaurant, and the same woman follows him outside, revealing that she is Inquiline. She already knows about Sarah and immediately makes him hide his hat and backpack inside a shopping bag. She tells him to wander around, pretending to shop, then meet her at a garage. They regroup and she drives him to her home. During the drive, she explains that she became a hacker 6 years earlier after her husband died. He had been a CIA asset working with Russian intelligence and was the original Inquiline who taught her everything. Official reports claim he fell from a window. At her home, she admits this is the first place she has managed to stay for more than 3 years and says if the Russians ever find her, she keeps a gun to end her own life. They begin breaking down the targets. Horst is the recruiter who hires mercenaries for more. Lawrence is an arms dealer, so Inquiline decides she will pose as a seller to reach him. Mishka travels constantly and documents everything online. Studying his photos, they spot a woman beside him. Facial recognition leads them to her social media and confirms Mishka is currently in Spain. Elsewhere, Caleb orders his team to monitor the terrorists closely in hopes of locating Charlie. O'Brien confronts Moore and tells him to stop running black operations without her authorization. Moore answers calmly and claims he has her full support. After leaving, O'Brien learns Henderson has been sent to Spain and realizes Moore deployed him without approval. So she sends one of her own agents after Henderson. Charlie and Inquiline hack hotel security feeds and locate Mishka. Charlie flies to Madrid and checks into the same hotel. He studies Mishka's routine and discovers he swims daily in the rooftop glass pool that bridges two buildings. Henderson tracks Charlie to the area. The next day, Charlie constructs a device and secretly installs it inside the hotel. Later, he follows Mishka to the bar, unaware Henderson is already inside the lobby. Charlie notices a familiar face watching him and realizes he is being tailed. He informs Inquiline through his earpiece. She runs facial recognition and confirms the man is CIA. She then spots Henderson on another camera and tells Charlie to abort, but he refuses. When Mishka enters the rooftop pool, Charlie confronts him and demands Horst's location. If he refuses, the pool will collapse. Mishka ignores the threat and swims away. Charlie triggers the device. Cracks spread through the glass beneath Mishka as he tries to escape. The structure shatters and he plunges to his death while water crashes down into the street below. Inquiline immediately warns Charlie that Henderson and another agent are closing in and guides him toward an escape route. A chase breaks out through the hotel corridors. Henderson nearly reaches Charlie when the second agent intercepts him and tackles him into a laundry room. They fight violently among the machines. Henderson slams the man into a washer. The agent fires a shot. Then Henderson wrestles the gun away and shoots him. Charlie reaches the doorway and hesitates, unsure whether to intervene. Inquiline orders him to keep moving, and he runs. The following day, O'Brien questions Moore again and he repeats that Charlie is on bereavement leave. After he leaves, she reveals she has obtained security footage from the Madrid hotel. At the same time, Caleb's team reviews the same recordings and concludes Charlie is no longer acting alone. They examine Charlie's encrypted communications and eventually uncover his exchanges with Inquiline. After a detailed search through old intelligence records, they locate the file of the original agent known as Inquiline and determine that his wife has taken over his identity. That night, Charlie and Inquiline lie down beside each other simply for comfort. Their rest is interrupted when Inquiline's bird starts screeching. Checking the security cameras, they see armed agents approaching the house. They immediately escape through a hidden tunnel in the wall. As they flee, Charlie notices a surveillance drone hovering above. By slipping into a neighboring building, they avoid detection and leave the area moments before agents break into the house. Inquiline's system erases all stored data before the agents can access anything. The two run along the beach to reach Inquiline's car, but the drone spots them. Gunfire erupts as agents pursue them on land and water. After a prolonged chase, the attackers disable the vehicle. Inquiline is fatally wounded. Charlie moves her body aside and takes the wheel, continuing to drive until he finally escapes. Later, he parks the car in a garage and says goodbye to her. The next day, Charlie contacts Lawrence while posing as an arms dealer and arranges a meeting. He purchases new electronic equipment and travels to Romania. Inside an abandoned building, he records his face and hacks into a security feed in Berlin, causing the CIA to believe he is there and redirect their search. When Lawrence arrives at the meeting point, he finds a ringing phone placed on a chair. Charlie instructs him to open a nearby box. Inside are explosives wired to detonate if Lawrence moves. A photograph of Sarah lies inside the box. Charlie appears behind him and demands Horst's location in exchange for disarming the bombs. Lawrence explains that Horst operates in Russian waters and receives shipments at a Baltic seaport. He says communication with Horst only happens through coded messages from his men, and all relevant numbers are stored on his phone, which he throws down. Charlie takes the phone and leaves. Moments later, the bombs explode, killing Lawrence. The CIA soon learns of Lawrence's death in Romania and realizes they had been tracking a false lead. In a hotel in Russia, Charlie opens Sarah's gift. It is a puzzle that he solves to reveal a personal message from her. The next morning, he goes to the port and notices a suspicious vehicle. He sends the coded message and watches a man near the vehicle check his phone. Charlie follows him, photographs his boat, then leaves. After buying tools, he traces the boat's registration number and identifies the yacht it belongs to. He studies possible sea routes. The following morning, Charlie approaches the boat but is struck from behind and knocked unconscious, dropping Sarah's puzzle. He wakes up aboard the yacht in front of Horst, who has discovered the bomb Charlie previously planted. Horst believes Charlie cannot kill directly and hands him a gun, ordering him to shoot. Charlie lowers the weapon. The yacht suddenly changes course, and the crew becomes alarmed. Charlie reveals he has taken control of the vessel. Because the yacht runs on CIA systems that he helped design, he was able to override navigation and redirect it to Finnish waters. The Finnish Navy and Interpol intercept the yacht and arrest Horst and his crew. Later, O'Brien publicly announces the arrest of corrupt operatives who had been misusing CIA resources. Henderson meets Charlie and tells him he is proud of his actions. After visiting Sarah's grave, Charlie returns home and finally takes his plane into the sky. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.